What's up, Gemini? Welcome to your August 2020 Creativity Tarot reading. My name is Kaylee Jean, and welcome to my channel. I record these readings for artists, entrepreneurs, anybody who's working on their personal growth, their self-expression, or spirituality in any form. So if those areas of life are important for you right now, I encourage you to go ahead and keep listening. I also always like to say that you can use this reading for your sun, moon, or your rising sign, and it's also possible sometimes they don't resonate because these are just general readings. All right, Gem. Woo! While I was tuning in for you, I actually got this feeling like some kind of storm has passed in your life, and honestly, for many of you, it does feel related to your career or your work or something having to do with like your efforts. I feel like there's just this sense of relief and a sense of kind of like stretching. Like I almost see somebody like kind of stretching their arms out. So I don't know if you have been concerned about something for a while and it's just been kind of like tightening up your physical body, or if there's been something that has just been causing tension in any way in your life. But I feel like in August, there really is this sense of a stretch, like, and in a good way. It's like stretching, being able to release that, being able to feel a sense of relief, and feeling also like you can start making more progress again. So I don't know what this is related to, but it does certainly feel. And then now look, I just broke the deck in half and we have the Nine of Cups, which is really beautiful in the Strength card. So for some of you, some perseverance through some kind of tension is now at this time starting to pay off, perhaps in more personal freedom, more flexibility in your life in some way, shape, or form. So let's go ahead and take a look at your cards. Gemini. Okay, let's take a look here. And we're also going to get your Animal Spirit Oracle cards. I always like to look at these because I feel like totems, animal spirit kind of allies and guides and connections are a really powerful source of symbolism. Gemini, August. All right, and I'm going to get you about Russ. All right, let's take a look at your Animal Spirit Oracle cards. Wow, so we've got Vulture, crossed by the Black Egg. Wow, so it's funny because it's so funny. I really wish I would have said this. I really wish I would have said this. But while I was talking about the person stretching, right, I was picturing, I actually saw like really quickly in my mind's eye like an image of like a vulture stretching its wings after the rain. Like, I don't know how, you know how they sometimes kind of like hold their wings out to kind of dry themselves off after the rain has come, and you'll see them just going like this for a while. That was kind of the visual that I got, and I didn't say it. Now I really wish I had, because you guys got the Vulture card. So, but yeah, I feel like there's something about this that really speaks to the courage to perhaps face some difficult challenges in your life, you know, that you've been dealing with. Like based on the meditation, like I said, it sounded like some kind of storm is passing in your life. And the Vulture card really represents that willingness to kind of shed whatever is no longer true and whatever's no longer serving you, and really facing that, almost that shadow element, or the you could be even doing shadow work, Gemini. That could be something that you're actively engaging in as part of your self-care in August, is shadow work, which you can learn a lot about through Carl Jung, for example, and also what's his name? Robert Johnson wrote some really great books as well on shadow work and inner work in general. So definitely check those out if you are like looking for a little self inner work kind of journey that you would like to do and you feel ready for it. I could see these cards kind of pointing to you wanting to do that or being ready to do that or benefiting from that. So Robert Johnson and Carl Jung. The vulture card is your path, crossed by the black egg, does have a lot to do with speaking your truth. The black egg relates to the 5th chakra, which is the throat. And a lot of times what can happen when we get the vulture card with the black egg is there's been a lot that you've wanted to say, or there's been a lot of things that have been held back, right? With the vulture card, it can be about letting those things out, even in a safe space, like with a therapist perhaps, or a counselor, or even just a really trusted friend or family member. I think that there's something that you benefit from talking about at this time, Gemini, and if anybody is good at kind of talking through their issues, it's you. So I think you can have some really helpful conversations this month in August. So let's take a look at your tarot cards. So we've got Ace of Pentacles with the Hanged Man in the first week. We've got 6 of Swords, 5 of Cups, 2 of Swords and the Lovers, Knight of Wands, and the Star. Beautiful. So, you know, it's interesting for you, Gemini, because we do see a little bit of kind of hesitant energy for you in the first half of August. It looks like you are really kind of thinking things through and wanting to be really clear and firmly grounded in yourself for the first couple weeks of August before you make any big moves. That's kind of what I'm seeing, is this a little bit of like a conservative, not like a politically conservative approach at all, but like a personally conservative, like you're wanting to conserve your energy, you're wanting to kind of make really sure that you know what you're doing, and you're wanting to kind of have a very clear view of a situation. There is the full moon in Aquarius at the beginning of the month, which is trining your sign. It's happening in your 9th house, which is a house of higher learning, travel, you know, learning new languages. It's also about international things. It's your spirituality, and it can even relate to occult topics like astrology as well. So it's like any type of higher learning, philosophy, spiritual learning, your belief systems, all of that good stuff, like super yummy stuff that, again, Geminis, you know, you guys just love. You're a very philosophical sign, and a very mental sign, and a very intelligent sign. So what we get here in the first week of August is it's like we have this full moon, which we can almost kind of see symbolically being shown in this card. It's like that full moon symbolism of that big circle hanging in the sky. And for you, it's showing up with a grounding energy, actually. So you could feel quite grounded at this full moon. And at the same time, it's like you're hanging upside down with the Hanged Man. So you're on the 3rd, which is when that full moon happens, you are going to probably be seeing things differently and looking at your perspectives of the world and how they may be shifting. And you're looking at things from another perspective. Just like this person, if he's hanging upside down, he's going to see a really different view of the forest around him, right? And so with these cards, I feel like you are kind of getting grounded in a new perspective that you are trying to assimilate more deeply, and really kind of putting roots into the soil and seeing how that feels. This could have to do, for some of you, if you are a business person, you could be finalizing some plans for how to execute things in your business, how to accomplish your goals, and you're doing it with this very thoughtful manner. Like you're really trying to be strategic here. You're trying not to have any surprises. You're trying to kind of be very aware of what you're doing. So that's sort of what I'm seeing here in the first week of August, is like formalizing new plans, thinking things through, and it's very strategic and it's very grounded. The second week of August, there is movement. It's slow at first, So here we have like a total stop, right, with the Hanged Man and the Ace of Pentacles. The first week you're like solidly where you are and you're just trying to figure things out. So you're not trying to get any forward motion, you're actually trying to get more clarity, right? And that's just as productive, if not more productive, than actually moving forward and making things happen sometimes. Because when you really have that clarity within yourself, then, you know, the actions that you take are likely to produce the outcomes that you want, as opposed to unpredictable outcomes. So by the second week, it looks like you have that clarity of whatever you're doing and you're starting to move in a new direction. But the thing is, you know, every time that you make a choice, Gemini, and that is kind of a theme for Geminis, you're a dualistic sign. So choice is always going to be a big factor for you, and trying to make the right choice from your vantage point is always going to be something that you are attempting to do for yourself and for the world at large. But like anytime that you move in a direction, it means by default that you're not moving in the opposite direction. So you have kind of limited your options a little bit just by choosing something in the second week of August. And there may be a little bit of grief around that for some of you with the Five of Cups. Like, for example, what's coming to my mind is like if you had two jobs, let's say you have like two part-time jobs and you are realizing like, okay, I need to focus on one of these because it's not sustainable anymore for me to try and do both. Sometimes there can be a legitimate sense of loss in, you know, narrowing your focus on one particular thing as opposed to, you know, anything else. Like, I feel like that is kind of the energy that we're seeing is like, yes, you're moving forward and you're doing it for your own reasons and they're good reasons, but you are also kind of feeling a little bit bummed in some ways about what you're letting go of. However, I do think that this energy of like whatever feeling of disappointment that you do have, Gemini, I do think that is going to pass. And I think that you're going to end up being really happy with the choices that you're making. And the reason I say that is because you have the Two of Swords, which is kind of a, you know, this is like a Geminian card in a lot of ways. Like we have almost like this symbol for Gemini up here, even though I know it's the Roman numeral for two, but that's basically what the sign of Gemini is it's a symbol of the twins, right? Which is dual. It's about twos, things that come in pairs. So when we have the Two of Swords in the third week of August, it's like you are intellectualizing and becoming more and more aware of the situation that you find yourself in and what it actually means to you. And that's symbolized by the blindfold on this woman's face. So you're aware of what's going on within you, and that's allowing you to kind of think about it more objectively and think about it in respect with your intellect, with your rational plans for yourself, as well as your inner spiritual light, your inner spiritual truth. So when you have that kind of energy going on, it does look a little bit better. It's like an ease, right? Here's an emotional energy and here's more of a mental processing. So the emotional energy makes way for a very strategic and mental processing of spiritual truths as well as logical truths and seeing how those line up. And then you get the fiery blessing of the Lover's card. So I see the Lover's card as symbolic here of a powerful expansion happening in your life, Gemini. For some of you, this could relate to meeting someone or deepening a relationship or having a profound kind of romantic experience. Others of you, this is like an inner alchemy. This is an explosion of an inner alchemy, and it's a process. The alchemical process of growth has many different stages to it. And it's really the evolution of the personality that comes when the personality is, basically it has forces applied to it. So if you imagine like an alchemist kind of starting the process of something, they're applying heat, and then they're adding mercury, or they're putting it in a different vessel, and then they're incorporating another chemical, and then they're freezing that, and then they're boiling it, and then they're steaming it, and then, you know, it's like this alchemy is this whole process. And when you internalize that and symbolize it as the process of a human personality, that is you being acted upon by outside forces, and how you choose to react and respond to life, right? That's the alchemist within you applying the chemicals and the heat and the cold, or the, you know, separating factors or the joining factors. That's you participating, you know, in weaving this alchemical growth process, rather than just having forces act on you and then not responding in your own kind in an intentional manner, right? Like, it's about co-creating by taking ownership of your reactions and your responses to things. And that's where I see a huge expansion of growth for you in the third week of August. I feel like there's something going on here. This is your card as well. This is the card that represents Gemini in the major arcana. So it's like you're blossoming. You're blossoming, Gemini, in that third week. And it has to do with a spiritual truth that you're coming to. So that's really what I see. It is a result of choices that you've made previously. And then it's like, oh my gosh, the results are here. You know, like this just in. Gemini is fully owning it and becoming amazingly enlightened, you know? Like, that's sort of like what it feels like to me. It's just like the newscaster being like, whoa, like we just got this. Oh my gosh. I just think that like a light bulb is essentially going off, or going on, I should say. It's turning on above you, and you're like, whoa, this makes sense, you know? And it's an expansion. So we see that because then you're riding forward with total trust at the end of the month. In the fourth week of August, you've got Knight of Wands and the Star, which are both cards that have to do with faith in oneself. The Knight of Wands trusts himself implicitly, which is pretty obvious based on the way his horse is kind of leaping forward and he's charging off into his future, right? And then we have the Star, which is, again, that spiritual awareness, that presence, and that awareness that everything is right in the world, that the cosmos and the spheres are turning, everything is moving, everything is in rhythm, everything is happening, and it's all connected. That's what the Star represents in this example for you. It is about recognizing that it's all connected and knowing where you fit in the cosmos gives you the courage to act as the Knight of Wands acts. And in this particular case, I think it's warranted. I think it's warranted because you've got the Star. Sometimes the Knight of Wands is not something that we want to act on, right? Sometimes it's overly impulsive. But in this case, you know, after going through this inner alchemical spiritual explosion, this just in. I'm going to be thinking about that for a while. It's like you are acting, you're springing, Gemini is what I'm hearing, you're springing from the source. You're springing from the source. So that should be enough to tell you that it's okay and it's safe to do this, whatever it is, you know? Trust. Let's take a look at your Bob Ross message. He says, did you ever think you could just take a great big old brush and make these beautiful little trees? You really can. You really can. You really can, Gemini. I think some of you thought that you were a square peg trying to fit into a round hole in life. Or the opposite, a round peg trying to fit into a square hole. I think some of you have had that implicit assumption about yourself throughout your life. And I think what this reading is talking about on a larger level, it's pointing to a much larger theme that's going on in your life where it's like you are understanding more of where you belong. And you're realizing that you do belong somewhere. You know, sometimes that is a realization in itself. We have a panther. If any of you have a relationship with panthers, I know I definitely do. I've had a relationship like from the time I was really young with panthers. Like I had a panther imaginary friend when I was little. There's something about that for you. Like if you're looking at that and you're like, oh yeah, that's a message for me. I really feel strongly this is a specific shout out to someone from spirit. But the card is success. So again, this really hits on everything that we've seen so far in your reading, which is, you know, this is about success for you. This is about you finding your journey in a totally radical way, in a way that's absolutely aligned for you on an inner level. So I really hope this is helpful to you, Gem. Thank you so much for being here. I hope this reading gives you something exciting to think about as you go through the month of August. If you enjoyed this reading, please go ahead and give it a thumbs up. Leave me a comment below if you want to let me know your thoughts, or you can always just leave me a little Gemini emoji or say, I'm a Gemini sun, or I'm a Gemini moon, or I'm a Gem rising. Just let me know what kind of Gemini you are. I'm really curious to know how many of you guys are suns, for example, versus risings or moons. Or if you just have a stellium and you just like to watch it because you find it relates to your life, the Gemini readings that you have here on YouTube. So sending you lots of love. Please let me know what you thought, and I will put links to these decks in the show more box below. Sending you tons of love, and I will talk to you next time. Bye, Gemini.